For this activity, you want to make sure you have parent permission and supervision because you'll be handling a sharp knife. This is Vegetable Prep 101, and we consider this to be knife skills. Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the kitchen. We're just going to do a little veggie prep. And so one of the best ways that I like to do this is to make sure I have everything I need in front of me in order to be successful. So first thing you'll notice, I have my cutting mat, and I'm going to put a damp paper towel underneath it. That way it helps prevent it from moving around. I also have containers to put once I have prepped my veggies, I have containers to put them in, and I also have a garbage bowl to put my products that I'm not going to be using, my waste products in. So, I'm going to show you some celery. And what I like to do with celery, it can be very fibrous, so I take my peeler, press it onto the celery, and then remove those fibers. And that way we don't have those stringy bites in the celery. And I do this anytime like I'm preparing soups, or if I'm preparing salads. And we're going to go ahead and put those into our garbage bowl. And so that our celery is bite-sized, I'm going to take my knife, run it down the center of it. And then in a rocking motion, I'm just going to rock my knife and cut this way. Keeping my fingers in the bear claw, you can prevent cutting yourself when using your knife. And one thing I always tell my students, the more things you have on your cutting board, the more likely you'll cut yourself. So once you get through this stalk of celery, you will clean up your cutting board and then move on to your next task. And you'll notice, instead of taking my knife and scraping, I take the back of my knife and I push everything off to the side. And then that way I don't dull my blade. So I'm going to go ahead and put my celery into my portion cup. And I'm going to repeat the same process with my other piece of celery, cutting off the ends. Next we have our carrot. Again, placing our peeler on the blade side down onto the carrot. We're going to begin peeling our carrot, turning it like so. I'm trying not to remove too much of the flesh or the peel of the carrot. And again, you want to make sure that you've washed off your veggies. And what you can do is take your knife and cut the carrot down the center like so, and then cut it in half. Lay it flat so that way it doesn't move when you go to cut it. And just do half moons. Again, rocking motion with your knife, doing the bear claw on your carrot to prevent cutting yourself. Take your time. There is no rush when doing this, ladies and gentlemen, because again, you don't want to cut yourself because you are going too fast or going too slow. Take your time, keep your eye on what you're doing, so that way there's no trips to the hospital. Now we have our pepper. What we're going to do is just cut around the edges, and that's going to help us keep us from getting a whole bunch of seeds. Put that off to the side. skin side up. I'm going to cut these into strips. And then we'll cut them into little diced peppers like so. Next we have our cucumber. We're going to cut off our ends. We're going to leave the skin on. We're going to cut it down in half, and then half again, long ways. And then we're going to scoop out some of those seeds using a spoon into our trash bowl. Because the seeds aren't necessarily very palatable. So again, scooping out our seeds. Do that over the trash bowl. Now you can buy English cucumbers, which are considered to be the seedless cucumbers, but they do have seeds in them. They're just not as aggressive as regular cucumber seeds. And then we're going to slice them like so. And then last but not least, we have an onion. You'll notice I have the root and attached. And so what I've taken a whole onion and I sliced it down the center, left the root in attached. I'm going to remove the skin. Now there are two ways that I like to do onions. So I'm going to show you the easy way first. And then as we progress in Foods 1, I'll show you the more difficult way. So you'll notice that there are lines on the onion, and so what I like to do is find those lines and then slice on those lines. Go as far back as you can without separating the onion. And then what we're going to do is take our knife, and we're going to do this in 2 layers. And this is classic French technique for a dice. And then we're going to go down. And then when you get to the point where you can't go any further, you stop. So I'm going to stop here, and then I have my onion. Alright, last but not least, we have our cherry tomatoes. And these right here are very simple. We're just going to take them, slice them in half, lay them flat, and slice them in half again. Now you can leave them whole. Again, it just depends on the setting in which you're serving them in. If you're serving them just to family, I'd just leave them whole. But if you're having a nice little dinner party, I would slice them so that way they're not too big and bulky to chew on, and they don't overwhelm your guest when eating.